Alright, welcome back for another video. I don't want to make today a doom and gloom video, but I got a lot of information I put together for you to kind of, steer your thoughts in the right direction of what's fact and what's actually happening around the world right now. People need to know about this, but I'm sure you can all agree that if you ask your friends and family, nobody's paying attention to all this. They have no clue that any of this is going on because they're all distracted with what's going on in the mainstream media, right? But this came to my attention. I'm sure you guys may have already seen it if you're following, a lot of the XRP guys or Stellar community and so on. People are really talking about this in crypto as a whole. But if you want to go here and watch this short clip, the World Economic Forum posted on Twitter. I'll go ahead and highlight some of the main points that they talk about as it's playing on the screen for you. But some of the things that stuck out to me, first and foremost, obviously, they say that, they're predicting 8 things in the future by 2030, that you'll own nothing, you'll be happy, and that by doing that, you'll rent whatever you want, and it will just be delivered to you, essentially. All right. They say that the U.S. won't be a leading power anymore, and that rather a handful of countries will dominate the world. So what handful would that be, right? Another interesting thing here, 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but that's a large portion of people. So where's that going to come from, and why? Honestly, a lot of these predictions are coming true up to this point. There's a lot of, at least, hints of things like this unfolding. But next, they say they want to make fossil fuels history. So no more, carbon dioxide, whatever, move towards more electric power and so on. We all see that happening. And then really interesting point they had in there too. They say Western values will be tested to a breaking point. So America's morals and values or whatever be tested to a breaking point, maybe. We'll see what comes out of all that. But anyway, so one of the main points, right? So the own nothing and be happy, that you're just going to rent everything. Well, that implies some kind of universal basic income and some kind of world government, right? Providing you just enough to get by, and you're not going to own anything, but all of your needs will be met, right? You'll be happy, according to them. But I like this guy here in the comment. He said, to own nothing and still be happy implies the existence of institutions governing our happiness. He said, for now, I just don't see an institution able to satisfy the needs and interests of individuals, minorities, and majorities at the same time. All right, kind of agree with that. Few more interesting things in here that I noticed. What else do we have? Hey, feel how you want about this pandemic and everything like that, but I kind of agree with this tweet by Sully Truman. If the pandemic weren't a hoax, we wouldn't still be arguing after 8 months over whether it might or might not be. I kind of agree with that logic. I know people are definitely getting sick and ill with this beer flu, per se. But, I've seen friends and family have it and, come down with symptoms, lose weight, be very sick in the hospital and everything. So I know that there is an illness. But the even more scary part about that is, to me, there does seem like there's some kind of planning behind it. So if people are getting sick and this is a real virus, and there's some evidence, at least to me, that it's planned, we should all be very alarmed, right, to say the least, right? Another thing, just 2 hours ago, the World Economic Forum came and posted on this tweet. Let me remind you, too, this tweet originally, talking about the 8 predictions for the world, this came out November 18th of 2016. So this was 10 days after the last election, all right? And now a lot of this stuff is coming to fruition. It makes more sense after COVID, right? After this situation. And then they come in here and they post another image. COVID-19 is pushing companies to scale remote work, accelerate digitalization, accelerate automation. So it's almost like they're happy or they're proud that it's like, okay, this thing is forcing this agenda essentially that we have. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to force opinions on anybody, but you got to really think about all this stuff, because when you got videos from 2016 about their predictions that are aligning now with stuff that could not have happened unless we had some sort of global situation as we do now. So you do what you want with that, but we got to be alert and go out here and watch this video for yourself, and maybe try to explore the idea. I don't know. Anyway, moving on, there's also another article came out on Bitcoin.com talking about a look at the fascist agenda behind the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum's reboot propaganda. So if you come in here, they talk about the tweet and a few other different resources that are out there that are leaning in this direction as well, or talking about the Great Reset and so on. But like I said, now we're seeing evidence of this universal basic income, and that's what's going to be required for you to own nothing, right? You own nothing essentially because you don't have money, right? But you're being provided a basic income, so you're happy. That's what it sounds like they're insinuating. But just a few days ago, here on Zero Hedge, the Fed will use digital dollars to unleash inflation, universal basic income, and debt forgiveness. An unprecedented monetary overhaul, which will come in the form of the Fed sending out digital dollars directly to each American. This will inflate away hundreds of trillions in federal debt, and it would mean the end of the American way of life as we know it. Well, what did they say in the World Economic Forum's tweet? They said that U.S. won't be a leading power anymore, and they said that Western values will be tested to a breaking point. All right. What else I got here? Launching digital dollars would effectively remove commercial banks as financial intermediaries and allow the Fed itself to make direct deposits into Americans' digital wallets, in the process enabling truly universal basic income. All right. It all aligns with that tweet from 2016. And then, so if you want to come check out this video, George Gammon, a friend of mine, actually pointed me in this direction. Very interesting video. He breaks down this Bretton Woods 2.0 and the IMF's plan for total control. It's a 24-minute video, so I'm not going to play it for you, but just go check it out. And he actually explains how this process would work for removing commercial banks as financial intermediaries. He actually talks about that specifically in this video. All right, some more things that just completely align with this narrative right now. So just a few days ago as well, BlackRock downgrades U.S. Treasuries ahead of election on likely Biden win and fiscal expansion. So regardless of who you think is going to win the election, this and that, BlackRock thinks that Biden will, and that it's going to hurt the bond market, U.S. Treasury market per se. Interesting thing about that, though, is just earlier this year, BlackRock, which manages about $7 trillion in assets, was hired by the Fed in March to steer tens of billions of dollars in bond purchases as part of the U.S. central bank's efforts to stabilize the bond market amid the economic turmoil caused by the coronavirus pandemic. So BlackRock was hired by the Fed to manage bonds, and now they themselves are downgrading U.S. Treasuries. And this kind of all came together this week, right? So on October 26th, bond defaults delivered 99% losses in new era of U.S. bankruptcies. Bankruptcy filings are surging due to the economic fallout of the beer flu, and many lenders are coming to the realization that their claims are almost completely worthless. Instead of recouping, say, 40 cents of every dollar owed, as has been the norm for years, unsecured creditors now face the unenviable prospect of walking away with just pennies, if that. So they have a few citations here of companies that has happened with. They say debt issued by the owner of Men's Warehouse, which filed for court protection in August, traded for less than 2 cents on the dollar. JCPenney Co. went bankrupt. An auction held for holders of default protection found the retail's lowest price debt was worth just 0.125 cents on the dollar. And Neiman Marcus Group, the figure was 3 cents. So you're getting basically nothing, right? 2 cents on the dollar, 3 cents on the dollar, 0.125 cents on the dollar. All right, so bonds are falling apart, whereas BlackRock was hired to handle the bonds. So it doesn't look like that worked out. But that's about all I got for you on the more doom and gloom side. But at the end of the day, I just really want to bring this to everyone's attention, because you need to be thinking about this stuff. You know, what happens if this is all true? You know, what is your plan? You know, how are you going to help your friends, your family? So it's not like, oh yeah, the world's falling apart, this and that. It's just like, you need to be aware of all possibilities. And, you know, I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind at this point that the world just changed dramatically, and it will probably never be the same. So whatever the new world is, the old one is gone. So, all right, some positive news to finish the video off. Coinbase launches cryptocurrency Visa card in the US. US customers can now apply for the Coinbase Visa, a card that allows users to spend digital assets anywhere Visa is accepted. In addition to the US launch, Coinbase cardholders will be able to earn up to 4% back in Stellar or 1% back in Bitcoin. So I just wanted to point this out real quick because I talk about Stellar a lot, and I found it very interesting that out of all the crypto that they were going to allow you to earn interest on, they chose Bitcoin and Stellar. What have I been talking about a lot on my channel as well lately? You know, the potential for Stellar maybe to be that global currency. You know, I've made plenty of videos up to this point showing some pretty interesting facts actually that point in that direction. But anyway, for whatever their reason, Bitcoin and Stellar of all cryptos were the choice in the US. So not Ethereum, which I would have figured it would definitely be Ethereum, but it's not. So there you have it. If you want to get one of these cards, I mean, regardless of what I said in the first half of this video, how, you know, the US could be losing its leading power and it will be a handful of currencies, and the Western world will be tested. All those things, I think it's very obvious that Coinbase is becoming a bank. You know, they could eventually be that intermediary right here that, you know, removing commercial banks as financial intermediaries. I think they'll be replaced by companies such as Coinbase. We'll see how this all comes together. But in the meantime, if you want to get one of these cards and earn some crypto back on your spending, you can do that. All right. And to finish things up, you know, this was more popular news earlier on in the week, but I wanted to cover it as well because I had a few points to make that I didn't see anyone really talk about. So the idea, right? So someone sent 1 billion in Bitcoin and paid only $3 in fees. 2 transactions minutes apart sent over 1 billion in Bitcoin from a Zappo wallet to 2 addresses. So this is awesome. It really is. It's not as fast probably as some of the other options, but it happened, right? They moved $1 billion in Bitcoin. It probably only took an hour, and they paid $3 in fees. All right, so you can't do that with the traditional system right now. But my point to be made here is you can't really do this with any other crypto at all right now. I mean, you can, but not really. So my point is, with Ethereum, in order to move $1 billion worth of Ethereum, you would need to have a large chunk of that market cap, right? So right now, Ethereum's only about 44 billion. So you would need a lot. My point being, that price is going to have to increase a lot in value in dollars in order to actually be able to move these transactions. Same can be said with XRP. In order right now to move $1 billion worth of XRP, you would need almost 1/10 of the entire circulating supply. Okay, Obviously, once again, my point here is that that price is going to have to be a lot higher if XRP is going to be used on a global scale. Just to put it all in simple terms, people have asked me before, what is actually going to increase the price? Look, if XRP is actually going to be a global shipping container, quote unquote, for money, the shipping container must be a lot bigger in order to work as a global currency. Okay, same can be said for Stellar. I mean, Stellar, you would need almost the entire circulating supply to move $1 billion worth of money. So my point being here, collectively, for all of these cryptos, there's a lot of room for upside as far as in comparison of valuation to the dollar. So, all right, that about wraps it up. Once again, as always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.
What is a cashless society? What does it actually mean in a literal or high-level sense?
Money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these.
Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Ben, good morning.
Mobile payment transactions in China reached a cumulative total of 277.4 trillion RMB in 2018, ranking #1 in the world, according to the recently released statistical report on internet development in China. As of June 2019, online payment users in the country reached 633 million. The cashless society is now approaching.
When's the last time you paid with cash? Well, chances are cash has taken a backseat to the plastic in your wallet and smartphone pay apps.
Denver 7's Ryan Luby explains the digital pay revolution and why not everyone is on board.
The cashless society, the cashless society.
The cashless society.
The cashless society is now approaching.
The cashless society.